Hello everyone. My name is Aishna Kukreja. I'm the assistant editor at CA Club India, and I welcome you all to yet another CCI talk. Today we are in conversation with CA Arun Gupta. Sir is a qualified chartered accountant, CMA, and ACCA. With more than 25 years of experience in the finance and taxation industry, Sir owns an NGO with the name of Win Over Cancer and is a partner at Krishan Rakesh and Company, which is a GST firm. Mr. Gupta, you have an abundance of experience in the finance and taxation industry. Can you walk us through your academic and professional journey before starting your own NGO and GST firm?
I did my cost accountancy in 1990 and chartered accountancy in 1995. And then I did a diploma in IFRS from ACCA UK. That was in 2011. And I would say, initial 18 years of my career was spent in industry, wherein I worked with manufacturing sector, services sector. Uh, then I became a part of a boutique tax consultancy firm, BMR Advisors, and I was heading the automated service tax compliance division of BMR. Then in 2011, I joined another corporate, and that was basically into business development, identifying new projects and creating new business opportunities. And 2013, I conceptualized Win Over Cancer. 2015, we were formally registered as a charitable trust. And 2016 is the year when my treatment started. And the same year, I started into my GST practice as well. So that's it.
So, today you own an NGO which is registered as a charitable trust of public interest. How did your journey with Win Over Cancer start?
I was diagnosed with cancer in 2011. And fortunately for me, it was a slow growing cancer. It is leukemia and CLL. CLL is basically a slow growing cancer, but it is uncurable. So doctors normally intervene when it reaches stage 4. That gave me some opportunity and time to hover into the treatment options, the complications that come into your life after treatment, during treatment. And I contacted a lot of people, joined a lot of blogs and interacted with a lot of people. And over a period of time, I realized that yes, the issues being faced by different people are almost the same. And most of them had a solution. But while interacting with the disease, a person is in such a negative frame of mind that they are not able to focus on solutions. So I started counseling people and even started writing blogs. So one fine day, someone advised me that, okay, why don't you do a compilation of your blogs? And that is how Win Over Cancer was conceptualized, more into counseling and writing blogs. We started a portal, which was a blog portal. And as we identified issues, challenges, and identified solutions to those challenges, over a period of time, they became an agenda of Win Over Cancer. The first program that we started, besides counseling, was on financial rehabilitation. Now, financial rehabilitation is often a misunderstood and misdefined term as far as healthcare is concerned. People often misinterpret it as providing financial assistance for treatment. No. Cancer as a disease has the highest socioeconomic cost as compared to any other disease in the world. And there are various factors to that. Number one, the treatment of the disease is very expensive and long. For a long period of time, the patient becomes non-operative. So if he is an earning member, he, in I would say 95% cases or 98% cases, they lose their livelihood. The third factor is due to stigma prevalent in the society against cancer fighters and cancer survivors. Most of the people who have lost their livelihood to cancer struggle a lot to get back to the earning system. There's a lot of reluctance among prospective employers on the viability and workability of the person. So all this adds to the socioeconomic cost. So when we say socioeconomic cost, it is the opportunity cost of lost earnings or contribution to GDP because the person is not able to work. In 2013, we started the first program and we called it Work from Home Opportunities for Cancer Patients. 4 corporates tied up with us. They agreed to provide some ad hoc assignments which can be executed by working from home. And as an experiment, we started it and we enrolled 5 patients, I believe, yes, 5 patients in the program. But after 6 months, 7 months, we realized that the program is not working the way we had envisaged. So we stopped the program, we did a introspection and on the possible reasons and identified that yes, people had such fluctuating health issues and such variable profiles that that timely delivery and the quality of delivery is not aligned. It is difficult to align. So we changed the program. We launched another version, and this time we focused on their caregivers, if they can be employed. But again, after running the program for 7, 8 months, we realized that even there are gaps even in that approach. For people who are traveling, because treatment facilities are skewed to major cities, major metros. So a lot of people have to migrate or travel for treatment. I would not say migrate, but travel for treatment. And obviously, when they are looking for rehabilitation opportunities, they are looking at something near their house. And again, there was a skill set gap as well, because India is such a large country. And obviously, because there are social, cultural, and educational standards are different in different geographies. So there was an obvious skill set gap. So the people needed to be trained, they needed to be employed or mentored and given an opportunity near their house. Now, India being such a large country, if you have to address the problem at such a large scale, then this definitely required a lot of investment. And we had to look at a cost-effective and scalable model. So in the meantime, in 2016, my treatment started. So for around 7 months, I was totally non-operative. And GST was rolled out. The concept was rolled out, and I started working on that as well. And in 2017, we launched the third version, which is the current version of the program, wherein instead of reinventing the wheel or reinvesting into these centers, into skill development centers, we tied up with the existing skill training centers being run by large institutions, large franchisees like NSDC and Teleeducation. And we created a platform, we created a marketplace of these centers in the form of a mobile app. For the sake of convenience, we developed this app in 6 languages. And we provided the user a flexibility to search for a center near their house by putting up their pin code or city name. And yes, and some additional features like the user can contact the center through the app itself. We offered scholarships to the users for getting the trainings, so they could apply for the scholarships through the mobile app itself. And then there was a reporting follow-up mechanism. So the idea was that any member of a patient's family who have lost their livelihood to cancer, now this member can be patient's children, spouse, sibling, or parents. They can search a center near their house. They can speak to them, identify a course which is compatible to this to their interest or qualification or background, get a training. If a cost is involved, they could get a scholarship from us. And once the training is completed, we mentor them to be self-employed. That is a first preference. Otherwise, we help them get a job. Now, in addition to that, we also developed a job portal, which is a dedicated job portal for cancer fighters, cancer survivors, I would say, where they can post in their resume, and we help them connect with the industry and get various assignments. These can be employment assignments, which is a little tough, but then we try to get them consulting assignments with startups or MSMEs who are often short of funds, but they need experienced resources to mentor them, guide them. So this is one of the flagship programs of Innova Cancer. We call it Project Survive. In addition, we have medical support programs, which are clubbed under Project Save. Save and Support. Save is more about uh, making people aware on early symptoms or treatment options, and support is more about treatment support. So under Project Support, the flagship program is free distribution of prosthetic bra. So just for the benefit of viewers, a prosthetic bra is required by breast cancer survivors who have undergone mastectomy. Mastectomy is surgical removal of infected breast. So what happens is, in India, we have 150,000 breast cancer patients every year, and around two-thirds of them, or around 1 lakh patients, ladies, undergo mastectomy. Mastectomy has twofold impact on the patient. One is medical, the second is psychological. As a medical impact, the removal of a breast imbalances a patient's body. This puts a stress on their spinal cord, and over a period of time, the spinal cord undergoes a curvature, a bend, just called bended spine, causing chronic back pain to the patient. Similarly, like when a breast is removed, it distorts the physical appearance of the patient. And often ladies get into a lot of emotional distress because of that factor. We have seen hundreds of ladies, around 40% of the patients have responded that they even stopped going, socializing because of this trauma. So globally, these patients are advised to wear a pocket bra along with a silicone breast prosthesis. Prosthesis is an artificial organ, right? So when a patient wears a pocket bra with a prosthesis, the weight of the prosthesis, it restores the body balance, and the shape of the prosthesis, it restores the body shape, right? So now silicone prosthesis has several limitations as far as India is concerned. Number one, it is expensive. The cost is not covered under any insurance or medical benefit schemes. The third and the biggest discomfort is that prosthesis is just like rubber, soft rubber, right? It lacks air deciphering qualities. In a hot and humid climate like India, this causes a lot of sweat, and this sweat causes irritation. Now, post surgery and radiation, the skin is already very sensitive. So, because of this sweat, It causes a lot of rashes and irritation to the patient. We designed in 2016. We designed a cotton-based, fabric-based processes, which has been approved by leading government hospitals like All India Institute of Medical Sciences, CMC Vellore, Tata Memorial. And once we got the approvals from these hospitals, we started a program of redistributing these processes to breast cancer survivors across India. So as of now, we have 3,500 beneficiaries from this program across 25 states. In addition to that, we are providing treatment support to poor patients. We are helping them in procuring discounts on medicines, that is through bulk negotiations with the distributors. We have tie-ups, we have pan-India tie-up for supply of generic medicines, where we connect the patients directly with distributors or suppliers. They can exchange their prescriptions, make payment directly to them, and get the medicines. So these are some of the initiatives that we are taking. Now, recently we have launched a program for providing nutrition, dry nutrition to poor patients, especially children. Because the cancer, recovery from cancer treatment requires the patient to have high nutrition diet. Now, when we look at pediatric cancers, in around 40% cases, patients hail from such a poor background, they cannot afford 2 times of meals, leave aside nutrition, right? So we have crafted out a nutrition plan in consultation with oncodietitians, and we provide our patients these dietitians.
Talking about the projects, I couldn't help but notice that a lot of research has gone into conceptualizing the projects for Win Over Cancer. It is very strategically planned and extremely unique. Did your experience in the finance industry help you shape the projects for Win Over Cancer?
Definitely. See, the biggest lesson that I've learned in my career as an individual is, your professional knowledge helps you in crafting out an intelligent solution, right? Nothing beyond that. So, for example, if you look at Forbes 100 list, 50% people have not even completed their schooling, right? So it is basically the structured thought process that matters. Your professional qualification supplements that structured thought process. The first prerequisite is a structured thought process. You have to identify a solution and then have a positive frame of mind to look at possible solutions to that. Right? And this thing you learn when you are working with the corporates, when you're working in industry. And I was fortunate enough to have worked in manufacturing sector, services sector, as well as consulting. So that experience definitely helped me in, and of course, when we look at the job profile, I have worked with in finance, in traditional finance, in commercial roles. I've worked with as a business development person. I've run organizations I've set up 6 startups in my career, and all that experience that definitely helped me in structuring the solutions and structuring the organization as such. And we have been running the Win Over Cancer as a corporate, not as an NGO. So a lot of emphasis is there on developing internal controls, in in transparency to the donors. So we really boast that yes, we have invested a lot in technology. In addition to this mobile application, which is the unique solution, one of its kind in the world right now. Like in 2017, we were invited at a global conference in Uppsala, Sweden, for a presentation of our project Survive. And we were the only participants from India, where 180 people from 32 countries had participated. And the basic objective was to make a presentation of this Project Survive and how such projects can be replicated in other parts of the world. So similarly, the way our prosthetic blood distribution is being monitored, like serving beneficiaries across 25 states from a single location with a very thin team, definitely it requires some strategic thinking. So the process, so making good processes, making efficient processes is definitely supplemented by the experience. And of course, primary, problem identification and solution identification. It helps a lot.
Mr. Gupta, you worked in the corporate sector for around 20 years. Can you throw some light at how was transitioning from a corporate world to a social sector world like?
Well, one thing I realized why social sector is different from corporate sector. The basic difference is when you are working with corporate sector or when you are engaging with your customers in corporate sector or the people who are giving you money, right? So you are providing them a service, and that is why, or you are providing them goods, and they are paying you for that. So there is a consideration flowing out, and money is coming in, right? Whereas in social sector, one of the important stakeholders, the beneficiaries, they are not paying you anything. They are getting the benefit, but they are not paying you anything. Similarly, a donor or the sponsor who pays you, he is not getting a consideration, direct consideration, right? So that is a very important distinction between corporate sector and social sector, and that is why I feel social sector is much tougher. Working in social sector is much tougher than in corporate. You have to reconcile the expectations, re-strategize the things, the expectations. So the transition I practically I don't see much of a challenge, much of a difference except for this deviation between the two sectors. In either way, you have a problem statement, you have a target market, you have to manage the finances, you have to manage the operations. So if you look at as an operations or a delivery, yes, it is the same everywhere. Just the fundamental has been when you're looking at a practice, you have to look at something unique, something new, something different. Fortunately for us, yes, the two flagship programs of Win Over Cancer are totally unique in the perspective that both our projects save. It is the largest project of its kind, largest program of its kind in the world right now. Similarly, when we look at prosthetic blood distribution program, it is the largest program of its kind in India right now, right? And both these programs are totally unique. And the uniqueness of this program gave us the leverage, it gave us the footprints. Similarly, when I started my GST practice, I have been a tax technology person, wherein I have invested a lot in technology. And I have that, acumen for technology, wherein I have helped various IT firms, including ERP companies, including solution providers, ASPs, GSPs, in designing their solution and optimizing their solutions. So probably that edge helped me in in adapting to a consulting practice in a more efficient manner. And of course, the profile and experience at BMR definitely helped me in adapting to a consulting environment in a quick and efficient manner.
So at the moment, you're managing your own NGO and a GST firm while fighting 4 types of cancers, one of which was detected very recently. I'm sure this is something that requires extreme emotional strength and willpower. What advice or what mantra can you give our viewers on fighting anything that comes your way, just like you are doing every day?
So uh, Medically, my case has been already been classified as a medical miracle in my category of disease. Like the American journals have already classified me, marked me as the longest surviving person in the world right now in my category of disease. And it is, of course, the bliss of God, I would say, and the blessings of our beneficiaries that is helping me get going. Uh, what I will say to everyone is that, you have to make your passion your profession. The moment you make your passion your profession, nothing can stop you in the world, and you never feel tired. You feel self motivated to work. People often get bogged down by uncertainties, so you have to always structure your uncertainties on between things which are in your control and things which are not in your control, and then focus on things, only those things which are in your control. Often we pick up those things which are not in our control first. और इस प्रोसेस में होता क्या है, जो चीजें हमारे कंट्रोल में होती हैं वो भी हमारे हाथ से स्लिप कर जाती हैं. So again, I will repeat, it is all a factor of self belief. Number one, believe in God, self belief, and trying to identify and structure the challenges ahead of you. So once you are able to sort out those things and align your activities as per your passion, as per your preferences, then of course nothing is, and of course then you have to trust people. You have to always think of working in a collaborative environment. Competition is always there, but never be afraid of competition.
Right.
Trust people, work in a collaborative environment. There you will find good people who are ready to help you out. Yes, there will be bad people, there will be bad experiences, but there will be experiences. There will be experiences that ultimately they are going to help you out. So that is a mantra, and that is the message for me, to everyone, one and everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your journey with us. I'm sure our viewers have had a lot to learn from your life, especially the way you fought against any challenge that life thrown at you. As an ending note, I would like to say that with dedication, determination, and discipline, one can overcome the hardest of hurdles. Thank you, sir, for teaching that to us and for giving us your valuable time.